Welcome to this incredible journey you're about to embark on. We're here to explore something that only a very small percentage of people ever experience: the highest stage of spiritual awakening. This isn't your typical self-help video. No, this is something much deeper, something that will shake the foundation of who you think you are. If you're watching this, you might already feel the subtle pull towards something greater, something more profound. But how do you know if you're really close to reaching that elusive 1%? How do you know if you're on the brink of spiritual awakening? Before we dive in, make sure to click subscribe to this channel to get more profound spiritual lessons. Let's talk about what spiritual awakening really means. It's not just about peace, enlightenment, or the absence of suffering. It's about a transformation so deep that it changes the very core of your being. It's a state where the ego dissolves, and you begin to see the world as it truly is, not through the filter of your thoughts, your emotions, or your past experiences, but through the lens of pure awareness. But here's the thing. Awakening isn't always comfortable. In fact, the closer you get to that ultimate state, the more intense things can become. It's a paradox. The deeper you go, the more you have to confront. And that brings us to the first sign that you might be nearing the highest stage. You no longer feel at home in the world as it is. The things that used to matter to you, the material possessions, the social status, the endless chase for success, start to lose their grip on you. You begin to see that they are all part of the illusion, the Maya, that keeps most people trapped in a cycle of desire and suffering. It's not that you hate the world or want to escape it. It's that you recognize its transient nature, its impermanence. You start to feel like an outsider, someone who is no longer tied to the dramas and stories that consume most people's lives. But this can be disorienting. Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you've ever believed in was just a dream. How would you react? Would you cling to the dream, or would you let it go? That's the question you'll have to answer as you move toward awakening. And here's the kicker. The more you try to hold on to the old ways of thinking, the more you'll feel like you're being pulled apart. It's as if the universe is asking you a simple but profound question. Are you ready to let go? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It's not about abandoning your responsibilities or retreating from the world. Instead, it's about releasing the tight grip you have on your identity, your beliefs, and your expectations. You start to realize that none of those things define you. You are not your thoughts, your emotions, or your past. You are something far greater, something timeless and infinite. And that brings us to the second sign. You start to feel a deep sense of inner peace, even in the midst of chaos. This isn't the kind of peace that comes from external circumstances. It's not about having everything go your way or avoiding challenges. No, this is a peace that transcends all of that. It's the kind of peace that arises when you realize that everything is exactly as it should be, even when it doesn't make sense to your rational mind. But this peace can be unsettling at first. Why? Because it forces you to confront the fact that you've been living in a state of resistance for most of your life. You've been resisting reality, trying to control it, trying to bend it to your will. And now, as you approach awakening, you're being asked to surrender, to trust, to allow life to unfold without interference. Can you do that? Can you let go of the need to control everything? That's the next big question that arises on this path. And the answer isn't always easy. The ego doesn't like to surrender. It wants to hold on, to fight, to assert its dominance. But the closer you get to awakening, the more you realize that the ego is just another illusion. It's not who you truly are. And once you see that, a profound shift takes place. You start to experience life from a place of pure awareness. You become the observer, the witness of everything that happens, without attachment, without judgment. This is the third sign that you're nearing the highest stage of spiritual awakening. You begin to see that everything is interconnected, that there is no separation between you and the world around you. The boundaries between self and other begin to blur, and you start to experience a deep sense of unity with all beings. But this unity isn't just a concept or a belief. It's something you feel in your very bones. You start to see the divine in everything, in every person, every tree, every cloud, every moment. When you stop resisting the unknown and start embracing it, something incredible happens. You begin to experience a sense of freedom that you've never known before. It's not the kind of freedom that comes from external circumstances. It's not about having more money, more time, or more options. No, this is a deeper freedom, one that comes from within. It's the freedom to be who you truly are, without the constraints of the ego. It's the freedom to let life unfold as it's meant to, without trying to force it into a mold that doesn't fit. And here's the beautiful part. As you embrace this freedom, you start to notice that you're not alone. You begin to see that everyone around you is also on their own journey, navigating their own challenges and discovering their own truths. This realization brings with it a profound sense of compassion. You start to see that the struggles others face are not so different from your own. And instead of judging them or trying to fix them, you simply hold space for them. You allow them to be exactly where they are, knowing that their journey is just as valid as yours. This is where love comes in. Not the conditional, transactional love that most people experience, but a love that is unconditional, boundless, and infinite. This is the kind of love that arises naturally when you let go of the ego and surrender to the flow of life. It's a love that doesn't depend on anything external. It's not about romance, attachment, or even relationships. No, this love is something far greater. It's the essence of who you are. It's the fabric of the universe itself. And as you awaken to this love, you begin to see it everywhere, in the people around you, in the beauty of nature, and even in the challenges you face. But here's the paradox. This love isn't something you can achieve or attain. It's not something you can work toward or strive for. No, this love is already within you. It's always been there, waiting for you to recognize it. And the closer you get to awakening, the more you realize that love is not just a feeling or an emotion. It's a state of being. It's the very foundation of existence itself. So, as you sit here listening to these words, I want to ask you, are you ready to embrace this love? Are you ready to let it guide you, to let it shape your life? Because when you do, something remarkable happens. You begin to live from a place of pure presence, pure awareness, and pure love. You no longer identify with the thoughts, emotions, and stories that used to define you. Instead, you become a vessel for life, to express itself through you. You move with the flow, trusting that everything is exactly as it should be. If this message resonates with you, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. By doing so, you'll ensure that you don't miss out on these profound spiritual lessons. And if you're watching this video and it feels like it was meant for you, share it with someone who might need to hear this message. Be a channel of blessing in someone else's life. Remember, the more you give, the more you receive. As we continue to explore this path of spiritual growth, keep in mind that awakening is not a destination. It's a continuous unfolding, a deepening of your connection to the divine within you and around you. So, are you ready to take the next step? Are you ready to let go of everything you think you know and step into the mystery of existence? Because that's what the highest stage of spiritual awakening requires. It requires a willingness to surrender completely, to trust the process, and to allow life to guide you. And as you do, remember this: you are not alone. The universe is always conspiring in your favor, even when it doesn't feel that way. Trust in the process, trust in yourself, and most importantly, trust in the love that is already within you. And this brings with it a profound sense of compassion. You realize that everyone is on their own journey, and that we're all just doing the best we can with the level of awareness we have. But here's the paradox again. As you experience this unity, you also feel a deep sense of aloneness. Not loneliness, but aloneness. You realize that at the deepest level, you are the only one here. You are the universe experiencing itself through the form of a human being. And this realization can be both liberating and terrifying. Are you ready to face that truth? Are you ready to embrace the fact that you are both everything and nothing at the same time? As you move deeper into this state of awareness, something remarkable happens. The old you, the one who was obsessed with achieving, with proving, with controlling, begins to fade away. In its place, something new is born, a being of pure presence, pure awareness, pure love. And this is the final sign that you're about to reach the highest stage of spiritual awakening. You start to live from a place of love, not fear. You start to see that love is the very fabric of the universe, the force that holds everything together. But this love isn't the romantic love that most people think of. It's not about attachment or desire. It's a love that is unconditional, boundless, and infinite. It's a love that embraces everything, even the things that seem dark or painful. Because in this state of awakening, you realize that there is no good or bad, no right or wrong. Everything is just part of the dance of life, and you are both the dancer and the dance. So as you sit here listening to these words, I want to ask you, are you ready? Are you ready to let go of everything you think you know? Are you ready to step into the unknown, to embrace the mystery of existence? Because that's what the highest stage of spiritual awakening requires. It requires a willingness to surrender completely, to trust the process, to allow life to guide you. If you're feeling called to this journey, make sure to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on these profound messages from the universe. Watch this video until the end, because when you do, YouTube will recommend it to others who are also searching for answers. And if this video has resonated with you, share it with someone who might be struggling, someone who needs to hear this message. Be a channel of blessing in someone else's life. As we continue to explore this path of spiritual growth, remember that awakening is not a destination. It's a continuous unfolding, a deepening of your connection to the divine within you and around you. So are you ready to take the next step? As we continue on this journey, let's take a moment to reflect on what it truly means to live in the flow of life. You see, living in the flow isn't about passively letting life happen to you. It's not about sitting back and waiting for things to magically fall into place. No, living in the flow is an active participation in the unfolding of life itself. It's about being fully present, fully engaged, and fully open to whatever comes your way. But here's the catch. It requires trust. Trust in yourself, trust in the universe, and trust in the process. When you're in the flow, you begin to notice something remarkable. Synchronicities start to appear everywhere. These are those seemingly coincidental events that feel like more than just chance. Maybe you think of someone and then they call you out of the blue. Or perhaps you're guided to take a different route home, only to discover something that changes your day or even your life. These moments aren't accidents. They're signs that you're aligning with the natural rhythm of the universe. But here's the thing. You won't notice these synchronicities if you're stuck in your head, constantly analyzing and trying to control everything. The ego wants to make sense of everything, to categorize and label every experience. But when you let go of that need, when you surrender to the flow, you start to see the magic in everyday life. Life becomes a dance, and you're no longer fighting against the music. Instead, you're moving with it, trusting that each step, even the ones that feel uncertain or uncomfortable, is exactly where you're meant to be. Now, I want to pause here for a moment because this is where many people get stuck. The ego doesn't like uncertainty. It craves predictability, safety, and control. And when things don't go according to plan, the ego throws a fit. It resists, it fights, it tries to regain control. But here's the truth. Life is inherently unpredictable. No matter how much you try to control it, there will always be things beyond your grasp. And that's okay. In fact, that's where the real growth happens.